Now, her name is synonymous with sophisticated scents, but our first guest journey from humble beginnings to creating perfumes for royalty hasn't always been a bed of roses. Here to tell her extraordinary story, it's perfume guru Jo Malone. Welcome. Now, I have to say that this is a bit of a coincidence. The two of you sitting there looking like twins. Yeah. You're actually very good friends, aren't you?
Oh, you smell lovely.
We're besties.
Unsurprisingly.
Yeah,
How did the two of you know each other?
We met at a dinner, didn't we, many years ago, and then Jane, the night I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was heading off for treatment. Jane
Can't believe she turned up for dinner.
It was a really sort of big moment, and all my girlfriends had clubbed together and took me out for dinner, and Jane was there, and I have to say she is one of the nicest, dearest, loyalist friends I've ever known. So,
Ditto. And it's funny because when I knew she was going to be at this dinner, and I thought, I just automatically thought, oh, she's going to be really posh. We don't have.
What do you mean?
And you know, we just hit it off because we're not posh, are we at all?
Well, your backgrounds are fairly similar, I suppose.
Yeah, council estate, and worked hard. I think our ethics, work ethics, are very similar. But yeah, we've been friends for a long time, and shared, you know, life adventures, lots of laugh, lots of pink girls' lunches. So,
I know what Jane means though, because I think perfume, I think posh. I mean, how did you get into perfume, of all things?
Well, I'm dyslexic, so all my senses are really muddled. And my sense of smell, I thought everyone could smell like I smell, but they can't. And so I see your dress, I can smell fragrance before I see the colour. So all my senses, my sight, hearing, touch.
What does she smell of?
I can smell like it's like careful, steady. Red currant skin I can smell, and I can smell like a peony. A sort of a very, so it's a very subconscious, it's going on all the time in my head. And
I mean, there is real science behind that now, isn't there? That the senses can let people sort of see in colours or smell things. I mean, I've got no sense of smell, so that is like black magic to me.
I have to say, I feel so privileged to have dyslexia. I don't believe that it's a disability. It's just the ability to think differently. And my sense of smell is my means of communication. So if I smell citrus, I feel safe. If I smell vanilla, I walk 100 miles away from vanilla. I can't bear the smell of it. It makes me agitated.
You often, we go places and she'll sit and she go, oh, I can't sit here, I can smell whatever. And I'm just thinking, I can't smell anything at all. Got really fine-tuned nozzles.
Now, one of the reasons, obviously, we're thrilled to have you on anyway, because you're Jo Malone, was your book here, Jo Malone, My Story. I have to say, I got this book before the weekend because I knew you were coming on the show. 6 hours. I literally sat down and read it from cover to cover in 6 hours. It's fascinating because, similar to Kay, I've seen the original shop, obviously, in Chelsea, and then obviously it's round the world now. I had an idea in my head about what your story would be, and it couldn't be more different. We obviously touched on humble beginnings, as it were, but it was actually an encounter with a royal that changed your sort of perfume direction, the way your business went, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was running a small little skincare clinic, and I started all over again. So I was 22, 23 years old, had 20 facial clients, and I just couldn't get this business off the ground. And one of them, one of my friends, had been Sarah Ferguson, way before she was married. And I picked up the phone and I spoke to her, and she said, Jo, come and have a cup of tea with me. We'll sit on the floor in Buckingham Palace, as you do.
Wow.
And I'll help you. And to her word, she sat down and she made a long list, and she said, I think these people would be great coming to you. And she literally picked up the phone and said, you have to come and help my friend Jo Malone. And you know what, that woman gets a lot of stick in life.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's very loyal.
She is loyal, she's kind, she's supportive. I saw her the other day and she was standing there saying to me, Jo, you have to help my friend who's making teas. You know, she never gives up. And I think that, especially on International Women's Day, you know, we need to focus in and be supportive of one another.
Now, what many people won't realise is Jo Malone, as we see it, the brand, isn't yours anymore.
No. I sold it I'm terrible with years, but I sold it a long, long time ago. Yeah. And when I sold it, I thought I was going to stay forever. And of course, 3 years into it, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So my whole world changed very dramatically in a very short space of time. And when I'd come through all this pioneering treatment, I was a different person. Yeah. And I'd lost my sense of smell.
Well, I was going to say, I went through breast cancer myself, so I was good. When you said about your sense of smell, the chemotherapy affected me with my nervous system, and I'm still feeling that as a side effect. I was going to ask if you have any side effects from the chemo. I had. So I was one of the first women to take chemo every 5 days for a period of a year. So I was given a very grim diagnosis. Right. I have to say, you can never, ever... I wasn't going to have someone tell me when I was going to die. Yeah. I was going to tell them when I was going to go. Absolutely. And I was on adriamycin, Cytoxan, Taxol, Taxotere. Have you done all of those? And Taxol, everything Taxol. And it does affect your nerves, doesn't it? So it did mine too. But it's the weirdest thing. It took my sense of smell, and I thought it had gone forever. And then after I quit Jo Malone and walked away, it then came back 8 weeks later. I mean, how cruel was that in life? But
what a sense of loss that must have been for you.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible because it was my means of communication. It's how I saw the world, and it was like my best friend. But all I could smell was that that strong metal smell, and that's all I could taste. But it came back, and it's come back. I mean, listen, look at me now. I'm living the best of my life that I possibly could, so I don't regret anything. But that sense of smell, when it did come back, it's come back differently. And I can smell things that I never
could smell before. It's much stronger. Yeah.
And you started again with Jo Loves, which is it's sort of you Mark II, sort of bigger and better. It's like a sequel. It's like Despicable Me. It's even better than the first one.
Despicable Me. I just missed it. I miss creating fragrance. I miss building. I miss being... It's like if somebody took away your voice for you, you lose half of... You'd be lost. Yeah. And so I decided that I was going to be brave and step out. And it was probably the bravest thing I've ever done. The first 2 years were excruciatingly difficult and hard. And now she's flying, and life couldn't be more wonderful.
Well, as you said, on International Women's Day, we couldn't wish you any more love and luck. Thank you so much.